Hey guys, here I am at Bethesda where I just got out of seeing 2 demos. Very exciting here, which I think is a big improvement over last year. The first thing that I saw, one that I think basically every PC gamer was so fired up to see, that was one of my most hotly demanded titles, was the Elder Scrolls Skyrim. And I just got out of a closed doors demo of that, and you will not be disappointed by this game. It's clear that they took everything we loved about this RPG crack that was Morrowind and Oblivion, and they've only made it even better and more fast-paced and more action-packed, and they've improved everything about it to make it even more involving. So when Skyrim comes out, you can say goodbye to about a month of free time. I guarantee it. It was very exciting the way they've taken the concepts that made these games so good and then improved. They made them different but improved them. Some things that right away you can tell are very cool are the emphasis on there's no set classes. Basically in Skyrim you are what you do, and so of course by using your skills you get better at them. But in this case you also get some choices. So for instance, if you want to level up your bows, for instance, you want to be an archer or some kind of assassin, you can be a stealthy assassin. You can be the kind of Legolas assassin, and by that I mean your skills are all tied to like a constellation. It's a little like the Crystarium in Final Fantasy 13, but actually you have choices in this version. So every single skill and attribute has this little constellation. As you get skill points, you spend them to get powers. So for instance, that archer I mentioned, you can have this thing where when you zoom in, it slows time, so it gives you more time to line up your shots. You can have skills that let you, do more damage out of hiding. One-handed swords, two-handed weapons, all sorts of things. There's also a very big focus on dynamic, changing styles of combat. So there's a lot of different weapons. Not only that, you can dual-wield swords. You can dual-wield any one-handed weapon, so you can wade into combat that way. You can have one weapon and a shield. You can attack with your shield. You can also, and this was the very cool part I saw about this one, there seems to be an even bigger emphasis on spell casting and using those spells in tandem with either your weapons or even using spells in tandem with each other. When you equip a spell, you bind it to one of your hands. So for instance, you can have a healing spell in one hand and a fireball spell in the other, and you can throw them one at a time. Or you can bind that spell to both hands and you bring them together in like a Kamehameha and throw them out there. So like fireball 1, fireball 2, fireball boom. It's very awesome that way. There's also a really cool emphasis on basically like spell combos, meaning you can set down trap runes, and when they're stunned, hit them with a second spell. You can also use clairvoyance to sense enemies that are coming, and then use like a frenzy spell to turn them against each other, or use a frostbite spell to freeze them in place and then hit them with a hammer. Things like that. It was all very awesome. As for the story, I'm not too sure about the story. They didn't mention it all that much, except for the fact that you're exploring Skyrim, which is the northernmost region of the world where all the Nords live. And your character is a Dragonborn in the sense that he has dragon blood in him. And so your character, your general quest is to learn the dragon words of power, which are super, super powerful spells that can change the fabric of time and reality, cause storms to appear, and really wreak some havoc. And to use those spells, you have to harvest the souls of dragons to power them. And of course, there are a lot of dragons that roam around this world freely that follow their own behavior patterns and act on their own. They're not just sitting in a lair. There's over 150 handcrafted dungeons, so not just like randomly generated or repetitive dungeons that you'll see. They also said that they really wanted to make the quest as exciting and as accessible as possible, so there's a lot of dynamic content to the quests. The quests tailor themselves to your character's strengths, your play style, and they will also change destinations to really give you a sense of exploration. So the quest will always try to take you places that you haven't been to before. So it was really exciting to see. I'm so fired up about it, and it's one of those games that you see at E3 that cannot come soon enough. So that's Skyrim, and it comes out on 11/11/11. So for those of you TNA fans, it's that kind of date that apparently only comes around once in 1,000 years or something, like 10/10/10. Anyway, I don't mean to harp on about that one, but the best part for me was the ending of the demo, in which you harvest a dragon soul, and it's very Highlander the Source, where you kill the dragon, your guy like looks up at the sky, there's lightning playing around him, and he's going, "The Quickening!" I'm just having some fun. The second thing I saw was Prey 2. And honestly, I was kind of meh about this one up until I saw the demo. And really, this could not have been a more game-changing demo for me. It really changed my mind. So this is one of those examples where I went to a demo with kind of a negative attitude about it, and it won me over. Although really, I don't know why they call it Prey 2, because it really doesn't have that much to do with the first Prey. You play a different character. You play a character who's a U.S. Marshal on the airplane that is taken aboard the Sphere from the first Prey. And from there, there's really not that many similarities. I believe you do meet the protagonist from the first Prey, Tommy. But I don't know, it seems like a very different game because it's a very different system. The emphasis on the gameplay is very different. There's all sorts of new gadgets, all sorts of new combat and movement style. There's like role-playing elements to this game, so it's very unlike the first Prey, which is a very good thing, honestly, because the original Prey I thought was kind of generic. This is anything but generic. The movement style is very parkour. It's almost like a shooter version of Mirror's Edge. You're on this world called Exodus, which is this, it's almost like a Blade Runner style city. They called it Alien Noir, where there's a lot of, towering spires and lots of weird catwalks, and it's almost like a slum, this alien slum that you're in. Lots of neon lights and stuff like that. And you play as an alien bounty hunter. So what happens is you have like this scanner that will search people for outstanding warrants, and they kind of glow on your monitor. And you can choose to take them down. You can choose to intimidate them. You can choose to kill them outright. And so there's a lot of moral decisions that go on here, because a lot of the criminal elements will they'll try to run. They'll try to take hostages. You can take hostages of your own to try to intimidate them. You can use your gun. You pull your gun out as an intimidation tactic, and also you can play by your own rules. Some of the a lot of these guys, when you capture them, they'll try to make deals with you and offer you more money than your contract is worth. So there's a lot of very cool elements, and there's also a lot of ways you can approach these things. There's the straightforward approach, of course. You can use your climbing abilities to maneuver around and get better, more advantageous positions. There's also people that can help you. You can pay people to give you distractions, give you better weapons, all sorts of stuff. So it was very cool to see. And the reason I say there's kind of a parkour style is the fact that you have a lot of range of movement. You can climb, you can jump, you can also use your guns while hanging from things. At first I kind of thought it was a cover-based shooter because he was moving between cover a lot, but it's a lot more than that. There's also a major emphasis on gadgets in this game. There's a lot of different really cool bounty hunter style weapons you can use. There's electrified bolas that you can throw at people and ensnare them and use them to capture them. There's little teleportation modules. There's, a shotgun that fires, these fucking exploding aliens all over the place. There's mini Nova grenades. If there's a guy entrenched behind cover, you can throw an anti-gravity grenade and pulls them out of cover, and you can shoot them that way. So it was very exciting, and it's actually very interesting to see where the story takes you in Prey 2, because there's a lot of moral decisions, or not necessarily moral, but, do I let this guy go? Do I let him live? Do I have to kill these people to get there? Can I go non-lethal on this? So it'll be interesting to see how your decisions affect the overall gameplay, and so it was very, very exciting to see. So overall, I'm very amped up about the Bethesda's offerings this year, so I know you can't wait to check it out. But Prey 2, they have they've not announced an official release date except for the general answer of 2012. So I'm gonna go see some more stuff. So this is Spoony at E3 2011. I'll see you soon.